For decades, our skies have held secrets, shadows tracked on military radar, unexplained flashes witnessed by astronauts in the dead vacuum of space, and truly bizarre, physics-defying encounters documented by our own federal agents. For years, these files were locked away, buried behind the highest walls of government classification. But that reality just abruptly shifted. Welcome to our investigation. Today, we're stepping into the dark room of government secrecy to examine a sudden, unprecedented release of classified documents. We're going to look directly at the official records, the raw data, and the frankly startling admissions coming from the world's most powerful military.
162. That is the staggering number of newly declassified files quietly dumped onto a brand new Pentagon website. Now let's be clear right from the start, this isn't amateur shaky cam footage, this isn't some internet rumor. We are looking at 162 official files. We're talking eyewitness testimony, military infrared tracking data, and deep historical reports of unexplained objects from quite literally all over the globe.
So what caused this sudden unearthing of hidden history? It was a direct presidential directive demanding maximum transparency. The administration explicitly ordered the Pentagon and other agency heads to start releasing files on these phenomena. The directive openly questioned what is happening in our skies, stating that with these new documents and videos, the people can decide for themselves what the hell is going on. The direct result of that order is the massive document dump we are analyzing right now.
To truly grasp the gravity of this release, you really have to look at where these 162 files came from. This grounds the bizarre phenomena in strict bureaucratic reality. This spans the entire apparatus of the United States government. The FBI handed over deeply scrutinized case files going all the way back to 1947. The Department of Defense released modern military encounter videos. NASA contributed highly sensitive lunar surface imagery. And the State Department, they unsealed decades of internal diplomatic cables. Let's dig into the physical evidence, starting with what might be the most remote, isolated location of all.
Our investigation begins not in the Earth's atmosphere, but out in the desolate vacuum of the lunar sky. Buried among the released files are highly scrutinized anomalies captured during the Apollo missions. We're looking at archival photographs taken directly from the surface of the moon, highlighting features that, well, officially, just shouldn't be there.
Let's break down exactly what's in these NASA archives. Back in 1969, Apollo 12 astronauts captured images that the Pentagon has now explicitly overlaid with boxes, officially designating them as areas of interest. Then jump to December 1972. An Apollo 17 photograph captured 3 distinct dots hovering in a strict triangular formation in the lunar sky. During that very same mission, astronaut Jack Schmitt officially reported witnessing a mysterious flash on the lunar surface, just north of the Grimaldi crater.
Now, for years, keen observers have endlessly debated the nature of that 1972 triangular anomaly. Was it a camera artifact, lunar dust? But the Pentagon's newly released caption for this exact photo offers a truly stunning admission. They state, new preliminary U.S. government analysis suggests the image feature is potentially the result of a physical object in the scene. Let that implication sink in for just a moment. The Pentagon is officially acknowledging the potential presence of an unexplained, physical object in the skies above the moon during the Apollo missions.
But the archives don't just contain old still images. As we transition into the modern era, the data dump reveals exactly 41 minutes of newly declassified video footage. And to be clear, this isn't grainy mid-century film. This is roughly 24 distinct videos capturing modern, highly documented encounters around the world, all occurring very recently, between 2020 and 2026.
A massive chunk of this 41 minutes consists of military infrared camera footage, specifically tracking white objects moving through the air, and the official reports accompanying these videos detail deeply unsettling maneuvers. For instance, in a 2023 video taken over Greece, an object is recorded making multiple, sudden 90-degree turns while traveling at approximately 80 miles per hour. That is a maneuver that fundamentally defies conventional aerodynamics. It completely outclasses any known drone capabilities.
And what's fascinating is how varied the phenomenon actually are. Military personnel across different global theaters are encountering entirely different types of anomalies. Over in the Indo-Pacific, cameras tracked an object that was described simply as resembling a football. Meanwhile, over Syria, the phenomena manifested as 2 semi-transparent, irregularly shaped orange areas. They materialized out of nowhere for just 2 seconds and then vanished entirely.
When we take a step back and look at the massive historical scope of these hidden files, a pretty chilling pattern emerges. You see, we aren't just looking at an isolated spike in modern drone technology. We are looking at a consistent,
heavily documented trail of encounters stretching over 8 decades. From the Roswell Memo of 1947 to the Apollo missions of the late 60s, through international airspace in the 90s, all the way to federal agents encountering strange orbs in 2023.
Let's actually investigate the very beginning of that history. The newly unredacted FBI files contain a memo written by an agent in the Dallas field office regarding the infamous 1947 Roswell incident. The agent reports receiving a call from an Air Force major confirming the recovery of a flying disc. Methodically breaking down the text, the memo describes the object as hexagonal in shape and notes it was suspended from a balloon approximately 20 feet in diameter. It is a stark, incredibly factual military report of a recovered craft.
Going further into those FBI case files, we find a photograph overlaid with a composite sketch based entirely on eyewitness descriptions. The accompanying text describes an apparent ellipsoid bronze metallic object, and it was enormous, estimated to be anywhere from 130 to 195 feet in length. It was reported to materialize out of a bright light in the sky, only to disappear instantaneously.
Now, fast forward to one of the most bizarre recent encounters contained in the Pentagon's files. In 2023, multiple teams of federal law enforcement agents in the western United States witnessed something they genuinely struggled to even describe. They reported an anomaly they likened to the Eye of Sauron from Lord of the Rings, just minus the pupil. They also compared it to an orange bowling ball. Adding to the mystery, these orange orbs were observed emitting smaller, red orbs in groups of 2 to 4. This wasn't just a fleeting glance by a lone observer. This sequential event was witnessed by multiple federal teams from varying locations over a 2-day period.
And it's not just domestic sightings. The declassified State Department diplomatic cables offer equally harrowing accounts. Take a 1994 cable sent from the U.S. Embassy in Tajikistan. It recounts the experience of a highly trained commercial Pan Am flight crew at 41,000 feet. They reported a bright light of enormous intensity approaching from over the horizon. The crew watched stunned as it maneuvered in circles, executed corkscrews, and made rapid 90-degree turns under incredibly high G-forces.
The diplomat who filed the report naturally attempted to offer a rational explanation, suggesting to the crew that it might have simply been a meteor or maybe space junk skipping off the Earth's atmosphere. But the crew was adamant. Having seen thousands of falling stars in their careers, they insisted this was completely different. In fact, the pilot went on record expressing his professional opinion that the object performing these high G corkscrews was, in his exact words, extraterrestrial and under intelligent control. The embassy diplomat simply concluded the cable by stating, "We have no opinion and report the above for what it may be worth."
So, after reviewing 162 deeply detailed official government files spanning from 1947 all the way to 2026, we arrive at the Pentagon's official position on the matter today. The release materials detail what they formally call unresolved cases, meaning the government is unable to make a definitive determination on the nature of the observed phenomena. It is a very rare documented admission of total uncertainty from the Department of Defense.
Yet, despite the unprecedented executive order for complete and maximum transparency, the secrecy hasn't entirely dissolved. Out of the 162 files released to the public, an astonishing 108 of them still contain heavy government redactions. The Pentagon maintains that these blacked-out sections are strictly necessary to protect eyewitness identities in sensitive military locations.
We've seen the raw data. The infrared footage defying known physics, the lunar anomalies confirmed by official analysis, the century-spanning timeline of identical reports from commercial pilots, NASA astronauts, and federal agents. The government has finally released the files, yet they admit they still lack the answers. Which leaves us with one final, lingering question to ponder as we close this investigation. If the Pentagon, with all of its advanced technology, billions in funding, and vast intelligence-gathering capabilities, still cannot explain these sightings, what are we really